For a decade, the narrative out of Western capitals has been highly consistent. China builds its technological empire by taking ours. We see it in the constant warnings about telecom infrastructure and the rollout of 5G networks. That anxiety quickly crept into our phones, with lawmakers convinced that global software algorithms and data architectures were being weaponized to siphon user information directly back to Beijing. But in early 2026, a single string of text broke that established pattern. It is an obscure base model file called Kimi-K2P5-RL-0317-S515-FAST. No one hacked a server to acquire this code. It was handed over freely, and it quietly became the structural foundation for a new $60 billion American tech empire. That summer, SpaceX executed a massive corporate buyout. They acquired Cursor, a San Francisco startup building an artificial intelligence agent designed specifically to write software. This chart compares the deal to historic tech acquisitions. The Cursor purchase closes at $60 billion, a figure that exceeds even the largest buyouts of the last decade. Yet the core intelligence that makes Cursor worth that much money is not an American invention. Its underlying engine runs directly on that exact string of Chinese code we just looked at. The United States military's most important space contractor essentially wrote a $60 billion check to own an ecosystem entirely dependent on a framework built in Beijing. The story of that code starts 6 months earlier. A Beijing-based lab called Moonshot AI published the Kimi K2.5 base model. They released it under an MIT license. In software engineering, this is a legal agreement that guarantees total accessibility. You pay zero fees, you give up zero equity, and you face practically no restrictions. Compare that to the dominant American strategy. The biggest players in Silicon Valley secure their models behind strict API keys, heavy paywalls, and months-long waitlists. By making the tool completely free and open to anyone with an internet connection, Moonshot bypassed Western embargoes and trade blacklists entirely. You simply cannot sanction something that individual developers are voluntarily downloading. By releasing the model this way, Moonshot ensured their technology was not an outside threat to be blocked, but an internal tool for developers to adopt and build upon. Which brings us back to Cursor. They were a small team with 20 employees who needed a powerful foundation to build their coding assistant. Paying fees to a closed Google or OpenAI ecosystem would severely limit their margins. So they took the free Kimi model and applied a technique called continued pre-training. They dropped the raw Chinese code into a sandbox environment and fed it billions of lines of new data, letting the agent practice writing, testing, and debugging until it became an expert. The results map onto industry-standard benchmark scores. By training their custom data on top of the Kimi foundation, Cursor's performance metrics shot up from 38 to 61 points, a 60% jump. As test scores climbed, so did the financial reality. The company hit $2 billion in annual revenue, reaching a $30 billion valuation overnight. This American company's rapid growth is built directly on engineering bedrock provided by a foreign competitor. The major American artificial intelligence firms continue to spend millions lobbying Washington, warning that foreign algorithms are a threat. Meanwhile, the very engineers driving U.S. innovation are building on top of those exact same algorithms. By July 2026, tech advisors like David Sachs pointed to a growing gap, arguing that the United States was handicapping its own developers with heavy regulations, while foreign alternatives gained ground. His argument rests on a basic rule of software economics. An open model will eventually consume a closed model, because permissionless innovation, letting anyone build without asking, moves faster than a walled garden. Victory in this sector no longer requires holding on to a smarter algorithm in a locked server room. It requires achieving total, frictionless accessibility across the entire globe. We are watching an inversion of how technological leverage actually works. Historically, power was derived from restriction. You secured a patent, you controlled your supply chain, or you issued a trade sanction to keep competitors out. Leverage now comes from owning the foundational stack by giving it away, ensuring others build on your architecture. By removing licensing fees, Moonshot eliminated adoption friction. Their framework became the infrastructure anchoring higher-level American models. When SpaceX handed over $60 billion for Cursor, they validated a profound shift in global strategy. In a digital economy, you do not need to steal the future if you can convince your rivals to build it on your code.